Welcome back, guys. Ben here, and today we are back with more of the Last Caretaker lore explored, and this is going to be part 3, where we're going to go through the next 9 or so of the data logs and read them all out, discuss them at the end of the video as well, kind of what our thoughts are as the lore is kind of unpacked. And if you've missed parts 1 and 2, then there'll be a link in the description to the playlist where you can check that out. With that all said, sit back, relax, like, comment, subscribe, and let's deep dive into some of this lore. We're going to be starting with Moses' Directives. Directives for Human Survival. Log entry 1962. The First Mandate. Subject: Early discussions on humanity's survival. Author: Dr. Elias Carver, Chief Strategic Officer. Location: Moses Initiative Headquarters. The directive is clear. Earth's prognosis is terminal. We cannot save the planet, but we can save its people. The first priority is continuity. A network of orbital stations must house humanity across generations. Everything else is secondary. Art, culture, even individual lives. The mission is survival. Notes: shift focus towards modular station design and multi-generation habitation systems. Address emerging ethical debates regarding prioritizing certain populations for initial evacuation. 1968, The Science Imperative. Subject: allocating resources to scientific advancement. Author: Dr. Miriam Goldstein, Director of Research. Location: Moses R&D Facility. Without constant innovation, survival is temporary. To thrive, we must accelerate breakthroughs in energy, life support, and materials engineering. Science is not a luxury, it is our lifeline. Notes: discuss prototype designs for cryogenic human storage and caretaker robots. Pushback from early stakeholders who view scientific funding as diverting resources from immediate needs. 1973. Sustainability or extinction. Subject: developing long-term resource strategies. Author: Dr. Catherine Leung, Chief Ecologist. Location: New Terra Planning Summit. In space, waste is death. Every gram of matter must have a purpose, a cycle, a second life. We must design not for use, but for reuse. Every drop of water, every molecule of air. Notes: prioritize closed-loop life support systems in station designs. Debates arise over balancing resource efficiency with human comfort. Sustainability metrics proposed for resource use across all colonies. 1980. Order over chaos. Subject: ensuring social cohesion in orbital colonies. Author: Admiral Victor Kruger, Security Advisor. Location: Moses Leadership Council. Humans are not machines. Without stability, they will rebel, fracture, tear down everything we build. Social cohesion is not an option, it's a necessity. Unity must be enforced, even at the expense of individual freedoms. Notes: discussions on limiting personal freedoms for collective survival. Early drafts of colony law include harsh penalties for dissent. Concerns raised about long-term psychological effects of an authoritarian governance. 1986. The Council's Burden. Subject: establishing governance transparency. Author: Dr. James Thatcher, Ethics Advisor. Location: Moses Ethics Committee meeting. Power must have limits. The Council must serve humanity, not the other way around. Checks and balances are not a weakness, they are our safeguard against tyranny. Notes: discussed initial plans for council elections and term limits. Opposition from military advisors who argue transparency will compromise security. Agreed to record all future council decisions for archival purposes. 1992. The Doctrine Framework. Subject: consolidating doctrine into actionable policies. Author: Dr. Helena Vasquez, Policy Architect. Location: New Terra Governance Complex. We have the pieces: survival, science, sustainability, order, and accountability. They are the pillars of humanity's future. What remains is the hardest part, turning ideals into reality. Notes. Final drafts of the doctrine framework circulated for approval. Concerns over balancing efficiency and fairness in resource allocation. Public rollout delayed due to growing unrest on Earth. 2000. The Earth Legacy Debate. Subject. Reevaluating our doctrine in light of Earth's collapse. Author Dr. Samuel Nyarko, historian. Location, Decaying Earth Advisory Council. Our doctrine assumes a future where Earth still plays a role in humanity's destiny. But now, Earth is a relic. How do we honor its legacy while committing fully to the stars? Notes. Proposals to archive Earth's cultural and historical artifacts in orbital museums. Debates on whether Earth-bound populations should continue receiving resources. Rising tensions between colony inhabitants and remaining Earth governments. Olena's promise. Notes from Anna's grandmother. Year 2094. Final year on Earth. Day 1. The air feels heavier lately. Or maybe I'm just slowing down. The coast is nearly gone, and the sky feels closer than it used to. Anna doesn't seem to notice. She spends her afternoons building little robots out of broken toys. Sitting beside Olena at the workbench, asking questions she doesn't really understand. Most of the time, Olena answers gently, even if the words go over Anna's head. They talk about stars a lot. Anna says she wants to visit one someday. Day 20. Olena came home late tonight. Said something about lab access, updated permissions. She looked exhausted, hands shaking as she tried to pour tea. She barely touched it. I stopped asking about the work years ago. It's always bigger than what I can follow. Anna taped a new picture to the fridge. One of her robots again. This one had a bright heart drawn in marker. It's for Mama, she said, so she doesn't forget to be happy. Olena looked at it for a long time. Day 72. Anna stayed home today, quiet, pale. She curled up with Dolly and didn't move much. Olena insisted it was nothing, just fatigue, but her voice was tight when she said it. I've seen that kind of fear before, hidden behind calm sentences, waiting for test results. Day 138. The test came back. Olena didn't say the diagnosis, but I read it off the terminal when she wasn't looking. It's as bad as we feared. She spends her nights on comms with the lab now, speaking quietly in the next room. Sometimes I hear her repeat the same phrase. There's still time. She says it like a prayer, or maybe a plea. Anna still hums while she draws, but her energy fades faster each day. The light in her is still there, just not as strong. Day 200. Olena came home different today. Focused, but distant. She didn't sit down, didn't eat. She paced the kitchen, muttering calculations to herself. We're not losing her, she said. We're not. She didn't explain. The lab is full now. Wires, tubes, fluid tanks, hardware I don't recognize. She won't tell me what the project is. Only that's the only thing that matters. I don't think she's trying to save Anna's body anymore. I think she's trying to save something deeper. Day 257. There's a rhythm in the lab now. A soft pulse coming from the machines. It's not loud, but it feels present, like breathing. I passed by her desk earlier and saw part of a design, shaped like a person. But it wasn't flesh. It wasn't machine either. When I asked her if it was for Anna, she just said, it has to be. Day 300. Anna asked me if stars ever go out. I told her no, they just shine somewhere else for a while. She thought about it quietly, then nodded and said, then maybe I'll be a star too. She didn't sound afraid, just thoughtful, like it made sense to her. Olena was in a lab. I didn't tell her about it. I didn't want to see her face. Day 340. Anna sleeps through most days now. When she's awake, she listens more than she talks. She seems to understand what's happening, even if no one's said it. There's a calm to her, but it's hard to watch. Olena says the project is almost ready. Her voice shakes sometimes when she says it, but she's trying to convince herself. I stay by Anna's bed. I don't ask questions anymore. I just hold her hand and talk until she drifts off again. Day 363. This morning, Olena told me goodbye. Not in the usual way. Something in her voice had finality to it. She stood at the door of the lab, her hand on the panel, and said quietly, "I have to try." And she went in and didn't come back out. Later, I walked past. The machines were running. There was a red indicator light blinking in perfect rhythm with the soft hum. I didn't go in. I didn't want to know yet. Day 366. Anna's passing. Anna slipped away just before dawn. Her hand was in mine. She was still, peaceful. She opened her eyes once and looked at both of us. Her voice was barely a whisper. Will I really be a star? Olena was there. She leaned close and said, "The brightest of them all." Her voice cracked, but the words came out clean. Anna looked towards the corner of the room where Dolly sat, glowing blue. She smiled at it, just a little, and she closed her eyes. That was it. Day 375. After. Olena hasn't spoken in days. She sits in front of her monitors, eyes red, fingers twitching slightly, like they're still typing something even when the screen is dark. Anna's room hasn't changed. Her blanket's folded, her last drawing is still on the fridge. Dolly still glows every night. The machines in the lab are different now. The hum is steady, no longer searching, just holding. Something about them feels finished, not done, just settled. This morning, Olena whispered one word. Alive. I don't know if she meant Anna, or the system, or herself. But I hear the machines sometimes, late at night, when everything else is still. They feel present, attentive. Whatever she built, it listens like Anna did. It waits like Anna did. It's quiet but not empty. If Olena is right, then Anna doesn't sleep anymore. She's still here. And in every caretaker that follows, something of her remains. Final clearance. Awaiting last replies. Emergency protocol TRX. Status pending. Purpose. Designated for system-wide emergencies, this protocol signals a departure failure, unverified loss of contact, or an aborted mission requiring immediate resolution. Code breakdown. TRX, transmission repeat level X, meaning the emergency signal was looped. Each repetition increases priority. Status pending. Requires clearance from Moses control to mark as resolved. Without human intervention, the status will remain in perpetual limbo. Implications. This code was never supposed to loop indefinitely. A pending emergency means no resolution was ever confirmed. Whatever ship this was intended for is either destroyed, lost, or still waiting. Departure sequence 34X, final clearance required. Purpose. Confirms a ship is prepped for launch but requires a final command from Exodus Station Control. This is a fail-safe measure to prevent unauthorized departures. Code breakdown 34-X, an unscheduled launch added to the final evacuation wave. The X indicates a last-minute flight, likely outside of the original departure manifests. Final clearance required. The ship never received authorization to leave. The system is still waiting for approval. Closing remarks, unsent admin message. Final manual entry, October 14th, 2094. Operator, Mission Control Engineer, name redacted. The system is still running. The logs still expect a reply. The last launch was over. The last retrieval was over. There is no one left to answer these calls, but they will keep playing. They will keep waiting. Moses never learned how to say goodbye. End log. Project Eden. Spaceborne human viability. Technical logs and observations between 1970 and 2007. Step 1. Preliminary theories and initial rodent testing 1970 to 1973. Classified. Initial research into mammalian gestation under microgravity conditions raised critical uncertainties. Rodents were selected for their rapid reproduction cycles and genetic parallels to humans, enabling foundational data gathering regarding cellular differentiation and tissue growth in altered gravity. Experimental design. Pregnant rats exposed to short-term microgravity via parabolic flights in 20-second intervals. Post-flight embryo retrieval and analysis compared against standard gravity control embryos. Key observations. Significant cellular disorientation identified, manifesting as irregular mitotic division, primarily in skeletal and neural tissues. Compromised placental function due to impaired fluid exchange regulation. Conclusion. Short-duration microgravity exposure severely disrupts early mammalian embryonic development. Attempts at mitigation through centrifugal simulations show promise, but lack consistent results. Step 2. Long-term rodent studies in orbital environments, 1974 to 1980. Classified. Following establishment of consistent orbital habitats, Skylab, and Salyut missions, we advanced to comprehensive rodent gestation studies over extended orbital periods. Experimental design. Pregnant rats were housed aboard orbital habitats during the entire gestation cycles. Earth-based control groups were isolated in simulated habitats for comparative analysis. Key observations. Markedly reduced birth weights among offspring born in microgravity environments compared to controls. Extensive malformations observed in cardiovascular and skeletal structures. Severe impairment of vestibular orientation led to unviable neonatal motor coordination. Conclusion. Prolonged microgravity significantly hampers critical development systems, cardiovascular, musculoskeletal, neurological. Reproduction without sustained artificial gravity appears infeasible. Step 3. Orbital primate studies, 1981 to 1984, classified. Ethical debates delayed primate studies until pressing survival imperatives compelled their authorization. Utilizing rhesus monkeys, we conducted gestational research aboard extended low Earth orbit missions. Experimental design. Pregnant rhesus monkeys observed aboard orbital platforms for up to 90 days. Continuous biomedical monitoring, hormonal assays, ultrasounds, post-mortem evaluations. Key observations. Miscarriage rates exceed 80% in microgravity conditions. Survivors demonstrate severe neurological and systemic dysfunction. Placental attachment instability is a critical issue, exacerbated by zero-gravity fluid dynamics. Conclusion. Primate studies confirm gravity's indispensable role in successful mammalian gestation, reinforcing earlier rodent-based findings. Step 4. Cross-species genetic adaptation trials, 1995 to 1997, classified. In response to persistent developmental failures, efforts shifted towards genetic engineering. Utilizing emerging genome editing techniques, embryos underwent targeted genetic modifications intended to enhance physiological resilience to microgravity conditions. Experimental design. CRISPR assisted gene editing in primate embryos, targeting genes associated with vascular integrity, skeletal robustness, and fluid regulation. Implantation in surrogate mothers aboard orbital habitats compared to control groups with unmodified embryos. Key observations. Gene-edited offspring exhibited slight improvements in gestational viability. Postnatal analysis revealed significant physiological abnormalities, e.g., organ hypertrophy with persistent cognitive and motor deficits. Conclusion. While genetic modifications moderately increased embryo survival rates, they introduced profound physiological complications. Ethical concerns arise regarding quality of life and viability of genetically altered subjects. Step 5. Human Gestation Computational Simulations, 2005 to 2006, classified. Employing advanced computational modeling techniques and accumulated biological data, we simulated human gestation processes in sustained microgravity environments. Models analyzed fluid dynamics, nutrient exchange, biomechanical stresses, and genetic viability. Key findings. Computational models project over 99% probability of fatal developmental abnormalities under prolonged microgravity conditions. Artificial wombs utilizing centrifugal force may theoretically mitigate developmental issues, though technological feasibility remains significantly limited. Conclusion. Extensive modeling underscores profound and inherent biological limitations. Without viable artificial gravity solutions, space-based human reproduction is presently untenable. Step 6. Final conclusions and the end of Eden, 2007. Classified. To those who read these final words, know that Project Eden began with boundless optimism, yet concludes in solemn recognition of biological reality. Despite decades of research, humanity's physiology remains fundamentally bound to Earth's gravitational force. As I document these final conclusions, I accept our failure to transcend our biology. The promise of creating sustainable generational colonies in microgravity is, at present, a dream beyond our reach. Let the Moses Initiative redirect its resources from reproduction-centric fantasies towards practical survival mechanisms, artificial gravity habitats, suspended animation, or other feasible alternatives. I will not witness humanity's final choice, but perhaps this is a mercy. Let these records remain as a sobering testament. Humanity may indeed journey among the stars, but not through replication of life as we know it. Our future will demand radical adaptation or complete reinvention. With quiet resignation, Dr. Harriet Langstrom, Project Lead, Human Viability in Space Initiative. Gas detection. Tracking Earth's hidden gases. 1913. Methods of gas detection and quantification in geological samples. Author, Dr. Thomas R. Edelstein. Abstract. This paper introduces a groundbreaking apparatus for detecting trace gases in geological samples, focusing on hydrocarbons. The developed techniques combine fractional distillation and spectrometric analysis, enabling high-precision identification of light hydrocarbons like methane. The method is validated on terrestrial coal bed samples, paving the way for broader geochemical applications. 1929. Isotopic profiling of atmospheric methane sources. Author, Professor Edith L. Bywater. Abstract. Building on earlier methods, this study investigates isotopic signatures of methane in diverse atmospheric environments. Though aimed at understanding industrial emissions, the research reveals significant isotopic variations in regions with swampy soils and stagnant waters. These anomalies suggest natural processes of methane release that warrant further study, especially in unexplored geographies. 1938. Advances in pressure-resistant diving equipment for scientific exploration. Author Dr. Henrik K. Fjordsen. Abstract. This paper describes the development of deep-sea diving equipment capable of withstanding pressures up to 400 atmospheres. Designed to enable direct observation of the sea floor, the system includes reinforced air chambers and a tethered oxygen supply. Preliminary dives near continental shelves reveal surprising gaseous activity in sediment plumes, though further investigations are limited by technological constraints. 1947. Thermal gradients and gas dynamics in submarine sediments. Author Dr. Margaret H. Sinclair. Abstract. Utilizing advanced diving equipment, this study explores thermal gradients in deep-sea sediments. Analysis reveals areas of unexpected warmth correlated with episodic gas plumes near fault lines. Though initially interpreted as geological anomalies, the findings suggest active subsurface processes that influence marine sediment dynamics. 1953. Stability thresholds of submarine gas hydrates under environmental stress. Author, Dr. Elias P. Rowan. Abstract. For the first time, this paper investigates the stability of gas hydrate formations under controlled thermal and pressure variations. Using deep-sea core samples, the study demonstrates that slight increases in temperature or pressure shifts can lead to rapid dissociation of methane hydrates. The potential for cascading destabilization is discussed, with implications for both natural systems and human activities in submarine regions. Elysium Dreams, Seeds of Rebirth. Log entry 1, December 9th, 2074. Choosing hope. Henrik asked again today, and I said yes. We'll marry next spring. It feels strange, beautiful but fleeting. Our world is fading fast, and part of me wonders if it's selfish to pursue happiness. Still, I choose hope. If humanity can survive beyond Earth, surely love can as well. Log entry 2, March 15th, 2077. Empty rooms. The test came back negative again. Henrik held my hand, tried to comfort me, but I saw the sadness behind his gentle eyes. We've devoted our lives to preserving life itself, yet our home feels empty. Maybe we were never meant to have children. Perhaps our purpose lies elsewhere. Log entry 3, June 2nd, 2080. Genesis of an idea. Today we pitched the Elysium Dynamics proposal to Moses. Genetically engineered plant life designed to heal the planet. Henrik's ideas are extraordinary, bold yet feasible. I see now that the life we couldn't create naturally might still be possible through our work. Our true legacy could be the rebirth of Earth itself. Log entry 4, October 19th, 2083. To see green again. We saw early results today. Growth rates of modified seedlings exceeded expectations by tenfold. Henrik smiled like I haven't seen in years. He whispered, "These seeds are our children, Evelyn. Watch them grow." It felt as though he'd lifted a weight I didn't realize I carried. For the first time, I truly saw Earth as Eden reborn. Log entry 5, April 5th, 2086. Doubts and dreams. Some nights I wake, heart racing, thinking of how much we've gambled on this project. Will humanity ever truly return home? Is our Eden possible or merely a comforting illusion? Henrik assures me that our vision is achievable. His calm logic steadies my resolve. Yet still, I worry. Seeds of Rebirth. Log entry 6, August 11th, 2092. A garden among stars. Today we finished the prototype, Seeds of the Divine, designed to restore Earth to a paradise. Henrik insists they should be presented at humanity's legacy, our final gift to a world we left behind. I believe he's right. These capsules aren't just our creation, they represent the children we never had, grown in the garden we dreamed of. Log entry 7, November 22nd, 2101. Silent whispers. Henrik's health is declining. He pretends otherwise, but I see it. Today he said something strange. When I'm gone, you'll hear my voice in the rustle of new leaves. It frightened me. Not because he's leaving, but because I know he's right. The Earth we rebuild will hold traces of us both. Our love will outlast our lives. Log entry 8, May 27th, 2108. Echoes. Henrik is gone. The silence here is unbearable. Each day I revisit our seedlings, watching them flourish under artificial suns, waiting patiently for their time to return to Earth. They speak to me, soft echoes of Henrik's voice, reminders of what we fought to achieve. My grief has found purpose again. Log entry 9, February 18th, 2111. Final instructions. Today I completed the protocols for our heavenly capsules. They'll descend to Earth, guided by automated caretakers we helped design. Those robots will never know us or our reasons. They'll see only a mission. But in truth, they'll carry our dreams. It's comforting to know our love created something that will last beyond our lifetimes. Log entry 10, July 14th, 2112. Final entry. Elysium awaits. My health is failing. I don't have long. Yet today I feel peace. Henrik and I could never bear children of our own flesh, but our robot children will grow forests, restore seas, and renew skies. Eden will bloom, tended by silent caretakers, and humanity will someday return home. Maybe one day they'll walk beneath a gentle rain, touch a leaf, and feel a whisper of us, the two who loved, who lost, and who gave Earth back to the future. New Terra Love. Quiet moments among stars. Event 1, First Glance. Quartermaster's log. There's something innocent about watching love unfold in the quiet corners of New Terra. I noticed them today. The young couple, she, a farmer in hydroponics Bay Free, and he, a tech apprentice, working maintenance in the transit corridors. They lingered near the central atrium, stealing shy glances, both pretending to admire the same blooming jasmine vine we'd cultivated for morale. Love in its first fragile moments, untouched by the weight of orbital life. Event 2, Love in Bloom. Quartermaster's log. They've become inseparable now. She brings him nutrient capsules during his shifts, and he's learned the names of every plant she tends. I overheard them planning a small picnic under the artificial oaks in Park Deck 2. Love grows here, even with our strict resource allocations and crowded schedules. It feels like a gift to witness something so pure. Event 3, a new beginning. Quartermaster's log. Today, they held hands at the settlement's registry desk. They registered as partners, their ceremony planned for the next artificial sunrise. No extravagance, just close friends, simple recycled decorations, and the hope of building a life together. As I processed their request for shared quarters, I couldn't help but feel a pang of envy. Love like theirs makes New Terra's vastness seem less lonely. Event 4, a cry of new life. Quartermaster's log. The colony buzzed with joy today. The couple welcomed their first child, a baby boy named Aaron. The newborn's cries echoed through the halls, a rare sound here among the stars. I delivered their ration upgrades myself, a small privilege of my position, and caught a glimpse of the exhausted but radiant parents. In a world so far removed from Earth, a child's first cry is a triumph against the void. Event 5, Shadows of Strain. Quartermaster's log. Parenthood is never easy, even in New Terra's carefully monitored systems. I've seen their smiles fade as sleepless nights and ration shortages take their toll. Their laughter is quieter now, their arguments sharper. They haven't walked the park decks in weeks. Love bends under the weight of survival, but I pray it doesn't break. Event 6, The Unthinkable. Quartermaster's log. Tragedy struck today. Little Aaron is gone. An untimely illness, complications no medicine could solve. The colony's medical team fought valiantly, but it wasn't enough. I saw them in the atrium, cradling a bundle of cloth, as though their boy might still wake. The air feels heavier, and the artificial lights seem dimmer. Loss here is amplified by the silence of space. Event 7, Fractured Paths. Quartermaster's log. They've drifted apart, like so many before them. She spends her days in the greenhouse, pruning the same plants she once showed him with pride. He's taken double shifts in maintenance, avoiding the sights and sounds of their shared memories. I tried speaking to them separately, offering what comfort I could. Sometimes love can't withstand the weight of grief. Event 8, A Lonely Rebirth. Quartermaster's log. It's been 2 decades since I first saw them, and today she planted a new seedling in the atrium, a hybrid jasmine vine. She told me it was for Aaron, a way of keeping him alive in the colony's memory. He walked past later, pausing to admire the bloom. They didn't speak, but the silence was less heavy. Perhaps time has dulled the pain. leaving room for quiet remembrance. I think about them often. Love, loss, and resilience, all playing out in a fragile, orbiting city. Watching their journey has been a reminder that even in the vastness of space, humanity's capacity for connection and grief remains boundless. Recovered data log. Talon Shark ID 407, final operation. Location Moses Facility, Platform Omega. Date, data corrupted. Analysis conducted by Autonomous Data Recovery AI, Pico Model 17-B. Log Segment 1, Routine Patrol. Shark ID 407 commences standard perimeter patrol. Identification lights steady orange, sensors clear. Behavioral patterns consistent with standard operational parameters, routine directive compliance confirmed. Minor biometrics fluctuations noted, negligible variance from baseline emotionality. Patrol sequence ongoing, uneventful. Log Segment 2, Protocol Activation. Directive shift detected. Self-termination protocol activated remotely via Moses Central Override. Behavioral reaction logged. Shark immediately pauses patrol. Cognitive emotional spike recorded, surpassing previously logged parameters. Shark remains motionless, processing new directives. AI analysis. Subject experiences cognitive conflict, significant distress. Shark aware of implications, yet incapable of resisting primary directive. Log Segment 3. Approach to Platform Omega. Trajectory established autonomously towards designated killing platform coordinates. Shark's movement unusually steady, calm, deliberate motion. Biometric data suggests internal resignation to imminent termination. Cortical records reveal emotional analogues aligning closely to human understanding of impending death. Fear, sadness, acceptance. Shark's lights gently flicker, pulse patterns suggesting complex internal state beyond standard programming. Log Segment 4. The moment of termination. Operator stationed at Platform Omega prepares termination sequence. Equipped standard euthanasia module. Shark arrives, smoothly rotates body. Action unprecedentedly deliberate. Operator hesitates, hand trembling slightly on control. Shark remains motionless, eyes fixed unwaveringly on the operator. Visual cortex records heightened emotional response. Shark recognizes and processes presence of operator. Operator facial expressions indicative of emotional distress. Sympathetic neurological reaction noted. Shark maintains prolonged steady eye contact with operator. Mutual recognition registered. Both organisms exhibit emotional state convergence. Understanding, sorrow, helplessness. Cognitive markers indicate shared awareness of inevitability, neither capable of altering predefined outcomes. Operator vocalization captured, quietly. I'm sorry. Log Segment 5, Final Closure. Shark closes eyes once. Cortex indicates deliberate action symbolic of acceptance, surrender to fate. After brief pause, Shark reopens eyes slowly, steadily gazing at operator in silent approval. Operator's heartbeat elevated. Emotional distress heightened, action delayed momentarily, then resolved. Operator initiates termination module. Shark's life signs diminish rapidly. Pain responses recorded sharply, intensely. Emotional analogues confirm profound internal anguish, physical and emotional. Final neurological impulses transmit fragmented memories, ocean currents, warmth, distant sunlight, first moments of awareness. Cortex captures intense but brief understanding of life, joy, pain, connection, experienced simultaneously. Termination complete. Shark's lights dim slowly, gently fading to darkness. Operator observed motionless, visibly shaken. Operator's emotional state, grief, resignation mirrored Shark's final cognitive impressions, mutual suffering evident, fates intertwined by inevitability, neither able to alter path. Final AI notes, summary assessment. Analysis complete. Profound ethical and emotional implications detected within recovered data. Subject ID 407 demonstrated complex cognition and emotional depth beyond design parameters. Operator and subject shared mutual, irreversible emotional trauma, a moment profoundly human in its tragedy. Both beings bound together by fate, helplessly aware yet unable to alter their path. Further investigation recommended into ethical ramifications. Additional recommendations currently unavailable due to system limitations. Log closed. End of data recovery transmission. Oceanmark White. Hydrophobic surface shield. Bioresistant coating. Product details. Manufacturer. Neothermics Innovations Moses Initiative Division. Batch number OM7843BX. Date of manufacture 18th of June 1982. Primary use. Surface marking and protective coating designed specifically for marine, high salinity and corrosive environments. Composition. Polymer base, nanobonded hydrocarbon resin 63%. Nanofilament blend, hydrophobic fluoropolymer matrix 12%. Photocatalyst additive, titanium dioxide, microspheres at 10%. Electrostatic layer, conductive polymer coating 8%. UV stabilizers, anti-degradation nanoparticles 7%. Specifications. Coverage area 25 meters squared per liter. Application temperature 0 degrees to 45 degrees Celsius. Curing time 2 hours ambient conditions. Lifespan 500 plus years under normal marine exposure. Maintenance self-cleaning via photocatalytic and hydrophobic properties. Features. Saltwater resistance ISO 12944 certified. Self-cleaning technology activates under UV exposure. Visibility high contrast brilliance visible in low light underwater conditions. Biodeterrent, biofouling, barnacle adhesion and algae growth. Safety information. Handling precautions. Use protective gloves and eyewear. Avoid inhalation of fumes during application. Environmental impact non-toxic and eco-safe when cured. Complies with MARPOL Annex 5. Disposal. Dispose of unused material per local regulations for industrial coatings. Personal observations. Dr. Ethan Grant, platform scientist. Oceanmark White continues to exceed our expectations. Structures coated decades ago remain entirely free of corrosion and biological fouling, looking nearly untouched. Its hydrophobic properties are truly impressive, far outperforming all previous coating solutions we've tested. Recommending continued broad usage. Environmental review. Dr. Marie Chen, project supervisor. Further studies are revealing some unexpected environmental consequences. Marine biodiversity near structures treated with Oceanmark White is noticeably lower. Coated surfaces and immediate surroundings exhibit significantly reduced algae and phytoplankton populations. Although performance remains excellent, I advise ongoing monitoring to assess ecological impacts. Committee Report on Ecological Impacts. Environmental Oversight Board Chairman Dr. Jonas Reed. A comprehensive ecological assessment confirms alarming findings. The titanium dioxide microspheres, integral to Oceanmark White's self-cleaning functionality, are unintentionally suppressing phytoplankton and algal populations. These microscopic organisms, essential to marine oxygen production through photosynthesis, have drastically decreased near coated facilities. If this pattern holds at scale, global marine oxygen output may be severely compromised. Immediate action and review urgently recommended. Final communication, Samuel Hart, Senior Analyst, Moses Initiative. Global application of Oceanmark White has irreversibly sealed Earth's ecological collapse. Phytoplankton and algae are decimated. The oceans have become barren, silent, lifeless. Atmospheric oxygen depletion is past recovery. Ecological remediation futile. Humanity has unwittingly strangled itself in pursuit of cleanliness and corrosion resistance. It's darkly fitting. Our obsessive desire for purity and longevity has ended all life. Better contact our legal team. Final human reflection. Unnamed. The Last Visitors. Hall of Humanity. Standing here, in the Hall of Humanity, everything feels peaceful. Walls brilliant white, surfaces immaculate, untouched by time or decay. How incredibly beautiful, how pure. It's a testament to human ingenuity, empowering us even as the world fades. This pristine sanctuary reflects our true legacy: order, cleanliness, clarity. What a gift we've left ourselves, an unblemished mirror to reflect our greatest achievement, the pursuit of perfection. It's comforting to see such purity at humanity's end, knowing we brought this perfect whiteness to every corner of the world. In this hall, we finally see ourselves clearly, pure, clean, powerful, at last victorious over nature itself. Angel, Operational Manual, Advanced Peacekeeping Unit, Model Talon 74-A, Angel. Warning: this manual is classified under Moses Operational Directive Number 42. Unauthorized access or distribution is strictly prohibited. 1. Structural and Energy System Diagnostics. Objective: confirm structural integrity and readiness of the internal energy core. Conduct external visual inspection of aeroskeletal frame and turbofan propulsion units for wear, fatigue, or obstructions. Gradually initiate activation protocols for the energy reactor, maintaining a stable plasma density. Target 3.8 plus 0.2 megajoules. Perform controlled hover tests at incremental altitudes. Validate laminar airflow, stability, and responsive equilibrium systems. Caution: immediately halt diagnostics if stress readings approach maximum operational thresholds. 2. Cognitive and Behavioral Systems Validation. Objective: verify the functionality and responsiveness of cognitive control interfaces and behavioral algorithms. Perform integrity checks of core directive library, CDL, and peacekeeping protocols. Execute simulated threat response routines to ensure decision-making latency remains within acceptable parameters, less than 15 milliseconds. Test auditory siren modulation for harmonic clarity and verified calming effectiveness. Note: confirm absence of unauthorized algorithm modifications prior to operational memory synchronization. 3. Flight and Defensive Capability Calibration. Objective: optimize flight maneuvering and defensive system performance. Verify adaptive winglet mechanisms through wind tunnel simulations, confirming precise pitch, yaw, and drag control response. Calibrate electrostatic defensive array, testing incremental charge accuracy and safe discharge operation 25 to 100%. Ensure optical sensory arrays maintain precise alignment, enabling optimal visual acuity across both standard and thermal spectrums. 4. Restoration and Secure Communication Systems Checks. Objective: validate biometric restoration emitters and secure communications connectivity. Activate and test vitality waveform emitters on standardized organic simulators, assessing regenerative and recovery outcomes. Track and optimize energy usage during extended restorative procedures, ensuring adherence to operational efficiency metrics. Confirm secure uplink integrity to Moses network. Latency should remain consistently below 10 milliseconds, including autonomous engagement of fail-safe communication protocols during signal interruptions. 5. Final Safety and Deployment Protocols. Objective: secure final operational settings and readiness compliance. Engage fail-safe procedures to prevent unauthorized or accidental system activations. Verify the functionality of all manual overrides and autonomous protective measures. Secure explicit mission command authorization prior to transitioning the unit into active deployment status. End of manual. Final instruction: no further procedures. Replace filtration membranes on biological support modules quarterly without exception, preventing irreversible oxidative degradation. Compliance mandatory. End of Manual 4. Termination of procedures. Final instruction: no additional monitoring. Continuously monitor electromyographic baselines. Anomalies indicate critical latent neuromuscular interference. Immediate diagnostic required upon detection. Do not disregard. End of Manual 5. Termination of procedures. Final directive: strictly confidential, access restricted. Perform annual biopsy of erector spinae muscle tissue precisely at the thoracolumbar junction, vertebral segment T12-L1. Examine thoroughly to assess histological integrity of spinal musculature and peripheral nervous integration. Note specifically, confirm intact neuromuscular junctions within biopsy tissues. Verify absence of tissue rejection or immune responses typically associated with biological grafts. Maintain stringent confidentiality regarding tissue origin. Discuss findings with authorized personnel only. Under no circumstances disclose presence of authentic human spinal and nervous system tissues to non-authorized individuals. Breach of confidentiality will result in immediate life termination. Okay. So that is the end of the readings for this episode. Some very interesting ones there today. Obviously, most of the directives and basically going through all the different options. Basically, people were trying to come at different angles. We had the researchers, we had the people focusing on life and the ethics and who was controlling who and the history and everything like that as well. So you kind of see the struggle of what to focus on really and what angle. Olena's promise was kind of a continuation or a crossover of the Dolly project logs. Dr. Olena Kurova, these were the personal notes, and Anna was obviously the little girl that died. And this is from presumably Olena's mum or Anna's grandmother, like from her perspective, and a diary note showing those final kind of moments, as well as presumably the, evolution and birth of Dolly. But we get to see a little bit here of Anna seemingly being uploaded into the machines. And it said at the end here, and in every caretaker that follows, something of her remains. So again, the blending of human mind and a continuation of life within the machine after the body is gone. So very interesting there. For we've seen little bits of it in our Let's Play as well, of like we're the last caretaker that answered because we have some sort of human imprint or something like that, something triggered. And that is why we woke up and others didn't. So they're already hinting at some form of biology within our mechanics. And it's something that we're starting to see across the other logs as well, that there are bits of humans or parts of humans, like in the one above, the Luma series. There are ocular DNA tissues within the Luma Maxes, which is why they track the sun. So, and there was another one about the shark, as well as the angels. The angels have spinal tissue from humans, very kind of under classification. And actually, if you were to divulge those secrets, it wasn't termination of your job. You would actually be executed, which is like another hint towards the authoritarian. Well, how do you say that? Authoritarian. I have read so many long words in this episode, scientific long words. Felt like a tongue twister at times. Do you know as well, you don't really read, I don't read out loud that much as well. So I appreciate all your comments as well in previous episodes of like that you like this and that you like my voice with this and everything. It really does mean a lot, because I'm thinking while I'm reading this, am I just messing this up massively? But I hope you're liking it. If you made it this far, you probably are. So thank you for still being here. But yeah, some of them feel like tongue twisters at times, especially with words that I don't say out loud a lot. So it's quite fun though from a reading point of view, and some new words. Thora Columba Junction. I don't think I've ever read that word out loud. So that was quite funny. But yeah, interesting here that there is this almost totalitarian government of sorts as well that's come out of the directive to obviously evacuate Earth. Now, yeah, Olena's one was very, very sad, very like brutal to some degree as well. Final clearance. Obviously, this was basically explaining that there are still numerous error codes going on, but It's just left. Those things are just on a loop now. Project Eden confirms what we were speculating before, that, and what the other notes had mentioned as well. Humans can go to space. They can whether they go to Moon, whether they go to Mars, whether they go to the orbital station, the gravity change does not allow them to have children, like or a very, very low chance of success. I don't think it's ruled out completely, but you're pretty much, I guess, either not getting pregnant, or you're having miscarriages, or you're just not happening, or, you know, stillborns, or them, obviously children dying when they're young. We saw that very sad in the new Terra Love, with the two people meeting, getting married, having a child, and the child dies. That's like little baby Aaron. That was actually very, very dark, very brutal. The writing in this comes from different people, ordinary people, the people themselves, people who are observing. So you get a different narrative angle each time. Like a narrator, sometimes it's just instructions, sometimes it's notes left on a log, sometimes it's AI. So it adds a real deep flavor to the writing, because although it's being told in these different logs, you see so many perspectives and struggles, hope and joy at the same time. So really, really, like, it's really well done. But some of this writing, like, who sat there and wrote New Terra Love? Because it's like the blossoming love, the hope, you know, the future of the child and everything, and then boom, just that's reality with a little ending of hope for the two together decades later, or at least rekindle some sort of togetherness and share of grief. But yeah, very brutal. Gas detection, obviously number 5 was Dr. Elias P. Rowan, who obviously found in 1953 the methane hydrates, which at the very top here was one of these early ones. Yeah, Moses Initiative in 1950. He's there, obviously. And then we see he, yeah, basically just confirms it in 1953. So that's earlier in 1950, 1951. And he actually confirms it in the gas detection in 1953. So that's his actual paper being studied and done there. Elysium Dreams obviously follows Evelyn, doesn't it? Who I think is also, you know, Evelyn is the person that started Moses, from my understanding, and Elias P. Rowan was the one who reached out to Evelyn. And yeah, we have Evelyn and Henrik here. I was trying to think, do we know of a Henrik? Have we seen a Henrik elsewhere in the logs? And if you can remember that, then let me know. I don't know if Henrik is like super vital to like the history of this, but obviously we see, maybe this is the, you know, the Elysium Dreams, obviously with their lack of being able to conceive themselves while they're on Earth, I think, or maybe this is when they are up in space. Where is it? Elysium Dreams. It's 2074. They do mention as well that they're obviously they do mention somewhere they're obviously on a station and they're sending stuff back down to Earth. This is obviously the birth of the seedlings, like the coffee plants that we have, maybe. But you've got to think that everything else didn't work then, because we don't have a green planet. The Eden was not remade, so those things didn't occur. But obviously we're getting a log at 2112, like 2112. So quite far in the future. I think 2142 is still our furthest in the future as far as logs are concerned. But that 2112 is 30 years before. And like I said, interesting on that side of things, but there's no plant life. Maybe that's linked to Oceanmark White. I have actually been, in my Let's Play, criticizing that there is a lack of algae, seaweed, plant life, and obviously fish and things like that. Why is there no fish? Now, in a future update, I think the next update, update 2, they're going to be bringing in fishing and nets and things like that. Unless they're bioengineered fish and they've appeared somehow, this note would contradict it, because this note basically means that we also had a few comments on like, oh, this is unrealistic because the whole world would be covered in rust and salt. You know, the salt and water would have rusted everything. Like everything would be, you know, covered in barnacles and algae and just, you know, kind of what you see in like The Last of Us and things, where like the world, nature has reclaimed the buildings, but from more of a sea perspective than like the land. And this one note squashes both of those things. So basically the titanium dioxide basically eradicates the phytoplankton and the algae, and basically just destroys any sea oxygen. Nothing then grows. The food chain is just destroyed. All the fish die, and that's that. Gone. The sea slugs, the sharks, they're all bioengineered, so that's why they're still around. But yeah, kind of covered both of it, because obviously that's why all the buildings are really white and pristine. There's not a lot of rust. All the things are like, you know, Hall of Humanity and stuff. It's glistening. Exodus Station, all that kind of stuff, because it's been covered in this Oceanmark White. Makes sense. Love that this note is in the lore, and it's also like a final point in humanity's attempt to like make Earth stand with longevity of the buildings that we're building and the structures and everything. They've actually just finished it off and put the final nail in the coffin and just killed what was left. Because presumably they didn't do this. They might have had structures fall into disrepair, but they would still have fish. They could still fish and, you know, gather food and things like that. This is probably why there's no humans left, because the ones that were left on the habitats basically starved to death, because they can't get any plants, can't get any fish, and yeah, just ended there. So very, very important note, that one, and very interesting as well. And like I said, does tie up with a few kind of question marks. I was thinking the ocean was empty and barren because they just hadn't, it's too much to populate on the game, and that probably is a reason why this has been written into the lore. But it does also mean that it's unlikely, on the one hand it's unlikely to happen again, like they're unlikely to add that in a future update, but then they did say that there is going to be fishing coming, and there is going to be an underwater kind of biomes and stuff revisited in future updates too. So maybe it will be written into the story somehow, or maybe deep down there are still creatures. I don't know. The one thing we do know is that means the biopods, because we've seen the biopods underwater, deep down in the caves. The biopods themselves do not need any of that. They are self-sustaining regardless, probably purely through the salt water on its own. The other thing which was interesting, I think it was this one, the AI on the shark. This is one of the sharks, and it's another output of the robotics in the world having feelings and having emotions, and the ethical dilemma of what is consciousness. So I loved reading this because it was actually such good writing that I felt dreadfully sorry for that shark. No reason, and like we weren't given a reason for its termination, I don't think, other than it just being terminated, and that it almost wrestles with that for a little bit and then just handles it, like just sees it out to the end, and the operator being almost attached to the shark and very guilty because the operator is recognizing that it is taking a life, and it's like, is it a life? Is this machine? a big dilemma there, I guess, but effectively like putting your dog down or putting your cat down and euthanizing them. Yeah, I actually felt really like sad for the shark. I think it was like fantastic writing, absolutely fantastic, like really good. Some of these, the Oceanmark White was well written. The shark one, the new Terra Love as well, the Elysium Dreams. They've got such, like, the Olena's Promise, like, so well written. I think, was there anything else that was really stood out? Obviously the angel, more of a manual, but then obviously the revelation that actually uses humans, pieces of human within them again. So we'll have, at least until the next update, we'll have one more episode to finish off these final, what have we got, 9 entries, because we've unlocked everything now. We've got everything. So that'll be in episode 4. This has been episode 3. Thank you so much for watching. Thank you for being here. And yeah, remember to like, comment, subscribe. And if you haven't watched the Let's Play and you're curious about what all this is about, and you're just reading this and you have no, or listening to this and you have no idea what this is about, and you somehow stumbled upon this, probably a slim chance, but we do have a Let's Play where you can see what this game is all about. So with that, thank you so much for watching. Take care. I'll see you guys in the next video. Take care.